Alright guys, so we've got another round 1 game here of the Warchief Club 11. The main event, day 2, and we've got Symptom playing against Silly Sausage. So Symptom on his Abacid there in the blue trunks, and in the red trunks on HRE we've got Silly Sausage. Symptom bringing one sheep all the way back from quite a distance there. But the beauty of having done that, he's free to just let his scout continue on its journey. And so, got a prelate coming out after a villager here for Silly Sausage. While Symptom off the house, not going for anything else early at the moment. Straight on the gold. The Silly Sausage is distance gathering here, although he could just throw down the lumber camp. I don't know what he's looking to do here. Oh, he's in Empower Radius, that'd be why. Or is he? And really, if he had his sheep over here, he could be in Power Radius on his main wood line. So, that's one thing you should always probably pay attention to on HRE, is if you know where your starting wood line is, put your sheep on that side, even if you're starting over here, and you can empower both your wood line and your sheep, and get your most value out of it, power up to 10 villages early game, while not having to worry about distance gathering. I guess the only benefit to this is the gold gatherers are being empowered, but then they walk all the way over here and lose it. So, Symptom with the House of Wisdom. So he's going to need this in order to be able to get his wings. So for Abacid, aging up on them is a bit unique. You've actually got to get the House of Wisdom and then add economic or culture, military, trade wings to it. Get access to different upgrades. And eventually you're going to be able to access all these upgrades, I believe. But you've got to get all 4 wings, go to Imperial. To do so, the building itself doesn't actually constitute an age up. It does constitute a landmark though. So Silly Sausage is still distance gathering. Only now looking at transferring to his main wood line. Actually, what is he doing? He doesn't have the wood to actually build anything though. He's 2 wood off actually building anything, so I don't know why he's bringing villagers across. I don't know what he's looking to do here. He's going to put an outpost on the board, but there is no way he's taking that board with only 3 villages. And without the wood to actually throw up a mill next to it. God, you're a silly sausage. And so he's empowering the gold workers, and I'm not a particularly good HRE player, but I fucking hate when people do this. Like, you've got 5 villages on food, and you can possibly go up to 8. And if you get them on this side, you can empower the woodworkers as well, and empower up to like 11 or 12 villages. Instead he's empowering 4 gold workers, and now they're building. I don't know, it's just a pet peeve that you can get prelate empowerment on up to about 12 villages in the early game, and people are empowering fucking 3 or 4 gold workers. And it's like, guys, come on, you can empower your whole woodline and your whole sheep gatherers in the early game. And get about triple the value you're giving yourselves. Oh, and like I said, there is a prelate to actually heal the units here, but you've still got to really garrison the vills rather than trying to run them away to instantly deselect the boar. And on top of that, he's only just now... Well, I mean, he's got plenty of wood to actually get that now, but he's been distance gathering so much here. And Symptom, economically, is just in a much better spot than Silly Sausage. He hasn't dropped a villager trying to take a boar. I don't know, sorry to be so critical about that if you end up watching this, man, but investing in a second prelate this early on, just to try and clumsily take a boar like that is just so expensive, and especially with distance gathering the wood. Probably best off just going for an initial lumber camp, getting that wood that little bit quicker, and like I said, try and empower as many vills as possible in the early game with your prelate, for gathering, more so than for building as well. Minework Palace, so, I mean, Minework's not bad, but it does mean you're going to have to commit to 2 or 3 early game prelates, rather than if you go for, is it Action Chapel? I think that's what it is, the Age 2 landmark with the prelates. If you park it sort of in the middle here, you can generally empower like a wood line and a gold mine, or a wood line and your food, at the very least, if not empower all 3, off a single prelate, because prelates can only empower so many villages at once each. Like if you've ever stacked up a gold mine with 20 resources and you park a prelate next to him, he's only going to empower half the vills. I do like this in the sense that Sausage can garrison, but at the same time Symptom is that far ahead he can actually just go for the main town centre gatherers. And Silly Sausage is going to struggle to get the Rax units out in time to deal with it. I do think Symptom playing a much more refined build can just overwhelm with double stables and the range. And just start to bleed his opponent out from here, just because of the gathering inefficiencies in Sausage's opening. And yeah, like I said, Prelate Empower is so handy. You can get about 600 resources empowered out at the start of the game, and you're only going to do that if, like I said, you park the Prelate at the spot where you've got 10 to 12 villages to empower early on, not 3 or 4, and then you get him into the other landmark, and you save yourself having to produce 3 or 4 prelates early on. You're going to actually save yourself more than what you'll get out of getting upgrades 20% cheaper. I mean, it's nice to have the upgrades there and always be fighting at an upgrade advantage as the HRE, because you sort of need it as a civ that's got access to, well, later man-at-arms in English and Age 3 knights, and doesn't really get any bowman bonus in Age 2 at all. So having a army tech advantage is great, but in saying that, you can get so much value out of a prelate in the Archon Chapel and save yourself having to get any more than 2 prelates until you actually expand outwards. Oh, I like this. So man-at-arms over in the corner of the map here. But now that there's camel archers being added on top of the horsemen, they're going to be able to just surround and outnumber. Take some nice trades here. On top of that, the man-at-arms are just never going to be able to get back to the base in time to defend. So Sausage is having to throw up another barracks back at home just to make sure he can cover back at home. And just because he will eventually lose this. And I think Symptom might now have enough to actually siege the tower. Like, it hasn't got arrow slits, hasn't got fortify just yet. A very nice garrison there for Sausage. Not too slow on his control, but this is going to get sieged and eventually fall. And there's no man-at-arms on the way. Well, there is. Spearman being queued up back at home. So this will fall. These villagers are going to get focused and this Rax is going to fall. So Symptom can really apply the pressure now. Playing that little bit more of a cost-effective, efficient macro opening. He's able to get nearly as many upgrades here as what Silly Sausage is. Obviously Sausage is saving resources because he's getting them out of that Minework Palace. But all this stuff he's got out in the map is going to fall, and he's now going to be fighting with just barracks units up against both archers and horsemen at a production disadvantage and a pretty big Vil count advantage by now. So 26 Vils for Sausage, 36 for Symptom. So Symptom up by 10 Vils, just with a slightly more efficient build and being able to pick off some Vils out in the map too. I do like that Sausage is trying to go for hunts, even though he's playing against an aggressive opponent. It takes guts to go, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to ignore the safe berries because I want to catch up, I need to catch up, I'm going to gather from the most efficient sources I can. Because a lot of the time, if you're behind and you go on berries and your opponent's able to just get on the hunts, like it's worth an eco tech, basically, advantage. So they'll eventually just outscale you because they've been able to play off greedier resource sources. But right now, Silly Sausage just doesn't really have the spear count to defend at home, relying on emergency repairs to save that tower, but between the tower and the town centre, he's only going to get so much value, and he's dropped a heap of villagers. If they had have made it to the town centre, perhaps he could have actually held off, because he would have been able to pick off all these really low horsemen really fast with a couple of extra arrows out of the TC. But right now, his Raxes aren't even in production. He's got a lot of gold in the bank, but he just has no food. So Silly Sausage has just really locked up his eco at the moment, unable to really produce anything to answer Symptom's push. So he's going to try and... oh, he's just going to go on an outpost, really. I was going to say he was going to try and go on a mill, because he really needs to cram out the spearmen, but he's not even going to be able to do that. He needs to get villagers garrisoned so the TC can really threaten these camels, or these horsemen, but I think it's going to be too little too late by now in any case. And now Symptom has even found this little hunt, and now Silly Sausage is going to get punished for doing what I would say was the right thing. Really, if he had an outpost here, it probably wouldn't be so drastic, or two outposts here, it wouldn't be so drastic. But, oh, now the villagers have killed the scout. They're not even back gathering, and they're not even fighting. So Symptom really has Silly Sausage on the ropes at the moment, and I think it's going to be a GG from here. So, yeah, we're down to one villager in the town centre. And GG is called. Symptom going through to the next round.